This is Biology Unit 5, Taxonomy. Here we'll look at the kingdom Fungi, or it's also pronounced fungi. So fungi are found in moist areas of varying temperatures. They are eukaryotic, which means they have a true nucleus and organelles. They are heterotrophic because they cannot make their own food or even move to capture food. They obtain energy by breaking down organic and inorganic material in the environment. These are your decomposers. And they also absorb nutrients. In terms of structure, they have a cell wall that's made of chitin. And we've talked about chitin before. This is a tough carbohydrate, also found in hard cavities of insects. They have thread-like bodies made of long, slender filaments. And these filaments weave together tightly to form reproductive structures. And I just want to introduce you to a little bit more detail in terms of the structure. So a lot of strange words here, but I'll show you a picture on the next slide. This is again just to introduce you to this kingdom. So they have these thread-like strands called hyphae, and there are cell walls to separate the hyphae called septa. Fungi also have cytoplasm, nutrients, and organelles that flow through gaps in the septa and into the hyphae. Now, if you have many hyphae, they can form a mycelium, which can be many meters long, or many hyphae can form rhizoids, which are root-like structures. So here you go. Here's the hyphae. Put many hyphae together, you get a mycelium, and then remember you have septa, which separate the hyphae. In terms of obtaining nutrients, fungi will do this across their cell walls. They can release enzymes to help break down matter into nutrients. It can be extracellular or outside their bodies. And then some fungi can be parasitic, like athlete's foot or ringworm. This is also known as mutualism, where you have a relationship with another species. So in this case, it's the human body, right? So here's athlete's foot. So I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like a ton of flaking of the skin on the bottom of your foot. And then here's ringworm. Actually makes a circle on your skin, right? Not necessarily painful, but it can become itchy and scabby, right? It's often transmitted from an animal. In terms of reproduction, there are sexual stages and asexual stages. So if it's the sexual stage, hyphae from different fungi will fuse. And there's also spores that can be given off. If it's the asexual stage, hyphae produce stalks, and the spores will just be released. Other types include budding and fragmenting. And then you've got the imperfect fungi, which have no known sexual stage. Now, yeast and mold are actually not types of fungi, but stages of a fungi's life cycle. So the yeast is one cell of a fungus that becomes more after reproduction. And mold is a fast-growing asexual stage. So here's your yeast. If you've ever made bread, that would look familiar. This is what it looks like under the microscope. And then you're welcome. Here's a nice dish of mold. Now, fungi. They are roughly 500 million years old, and there's many groups of fungi. So we've got the saprobes, which will eat dead algae or plants, animals, protists, or fungi. Somebody's got to get rid of that. You have rhizopus. So I'm going to introduce you to a lot of strange words here, but this is the kingdom fungi, so they have a right to these names. They're named for a reason. You don't necessarily have to memorize these names, just introducing them to you. So you have rhizopus, which is part of the zygospores. This is your black bread mold, and it also grows in the soil. Club fungi are your mushrooms. This is the Basidiomycota. There's quite a few uses for fungi, right? An obvious one is food. I'm only going to mention these because if you'd like to learn more about this, take food chemistry. We talk about this a lot. So you have blue cheese, citric acid in soda or candy. You have truffles, which is not chocolate. Truffles are very expensive fungi. $1,000 a pound, probably more. So that's what's in this picture here. And then you have yeast for bread making, bread baking, and brewing. Medicine. So you have antibiotics like penicillin, which is part of the Ascomycota or sac fungi. So that's why a lot of people are allergic to penicillin, because it is a fungus, but it kills bacteria. The black bread mold makes cortisone, which treats skin rashes and body joint swelling. And then in the environment, fungi are decomposers. They decompose or break down organic matter. In terms of disease, you have dermatophytes, which infect skin and nails. So there's like an ugly toenail fungus. You saw the ringworm. You saw the athlete's foot. We have what's called a yeast infection, which is caused by hormonal changes, illness, or antibiotics, usually in the reproductive areas. Histoplasmosis is a lung infection from the fungus grown in bat and bird feces. And then some are just toxins. There are some mushrooms and molds that are just toxins. That's why you can't just eat every type of mushroom. You can't just go picking mushrooms. You have to know which ones are able to be digested and which are not.